right, ladies and gentlemen. Turn down the phone. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Thanks for tuning in. I'm excited. Had a little tech ups and downs in the beginning, but I'm here. I'm excited to do an extended presentation from my Seed 5 conference. So let me check the chat. Everything coming through clear. Looks like it. I'm very excited. The Seed 5 conference was just a huge success. I mean, there were so many incredible presentations. The knowledge that was presented, the aesthetics, the way it flowed. It was fantastic. I had a blast. And of course, I did a presentation titled Rites of Passage, Initiation Through Natural Law. And it was good. I think I got a really good response from people. But now we're here to do the extended version. I got, a good handful more slides. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. And this presentation is very important for the one that I'm going to do tomorrow at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And that will be initiation into the one great work. They go hand in hand very nicely. So I'm excited for everyone that's tuning in. And it's going to be a good time. So if you're in the chat, say what's up, say where you're from. We're going to do a Q&A afterwards. So I'm excited for that as well. I welcome all types of feedback, pushback, questions, criticisms. The whole point of this presentation is about evolution. And that's what I'm doing in my personal journey as well. So I appreciate all you guys here, your time and attention. Thank you. Let's begin. So, let me get the logo down. So, Rites of Passage, Initiation Through Natural Law. Stick this over here. There we go. Oh, I'm having a problem with my keynote. Hold on one second, everyone. Sorry about that. Let me try to do this again. Technical difficulties. There we go. All right, play. Yes. All right. Okay, now we're good to go. It's fun being back in the streaming seat. I took a break for a while. I love streaming. I love being interactive with people, and you gotta knock the dust off it sometimes. So, share screen. All right. Excellent. Okay, now we can begin. So, the extended version of Rites of Passage, Initiation Through Natural Law. And I'm going to start with a couple caveats. Hopefully there's people here that haven't even heard this presentation before. That would be excellent. If you have, I got extras for you. It's going to be great. So my first caveat, I dedicate this presentation to my dad, Bill, who has supported me through all my endeavors, gave me the freedom to fail well, and the how to learn from my mistakes. He showed me what it means to be a man with honesty, integrity, strength, and moral right action. When I was raised, my dad had a phrase, stop, drop, and think, which meant to be in the present moment, drop the emotional reactions, and use discernment and think. So I ask everyone that's viewing this presentation to stop, drop, and think. And what I mean by that is whatever your assumptions are, the mentally perceived definitions of what you think this presentation is going to be about, rites of passage, initiation. Set those aside and just be in the present moment. Take in this information. Of course, contemplate on this later on. Apply it to yourself and apply it to the world. Very important step. So the next caveat, my style, simplify the profound. During this presentation, I will be presenting vast, deep topics and distilling them to the core message, which is always based in truth and nature, and which can be applied in life. So nature has no euphemisms. The truth is simple. It's one's own conditioning and programming that promotes complexity and feeds the unbalanced ego. Perception is not reality. It is the lens by which one views the world, and our goal is to align our perception to that which is real, the truth. So set aside your preconceived ideas of assumption and listen with care and open-mindedness. And this is what it means to be open-minded. If you're truly open-minded, that means you have a willingness to learn and change. That's the key point there. So communication is vital, and of course, comprehension is key. All the information that I've taken in on this topic, I've synthesized it, aggregated it into my creative expression. So of course, the way I communicate this, it helps the viewer on how they're going to comprehend the message. So comprehension is key. Now, we're on a quest, right? Quest comes from question. So it's not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions, which will lead one on a quest of initiation. So the ultimate question is, of course, why? Any topic, any category, anything you look into, why is the ultimate question? Because when you ask why, now you're going to get down to the causal level, the root of a problem, right? And if I'm stating there is a problem, because there is, right, we need a diagnosis. We need a correct diagnosis, which diagnosis means by way of knowledge. So, this is a journey of self-discovery. One of the core messages of this whole presentation. So, let's begin the quest. And let's start with the problem. So, the world is massively uninitiated into spiritual adulthood, with a lack of wisdom of objective morality and natural law, which is the foundation of a healthy individual society. A healthy individual and society. Instead, the majority of humans are grown children, believing in magical beings and fictitious ideologies that support and condone coercive, violent behaviors that violate the natural rights of others. The belief in moral relativism and human authority are the pillars of societal destruction, leading to the current human condition of slavery. The disconnection to truth in nature has spawned solipsism, narcissism, whereby grown children are stomping their feet, demanding their false parental figures of government and religion to provide safety, security, and survival. Pura artunus is Latin for the eternal child. This is what I'm stating today the problem is that the majority of human beings are disconnected from reality, from the real. We don't understand the foundational principles of what it means to be a human being and to exist, incarnate in this reality. So, of course, the foundation, if the foundation is not firm and solid, the house our home, our temple is going to come crumbling down. And this is what is going on in society. Now, not everyone is at the eternal childlike mentality. The majority of people, of course, the social engineers, the small amount of percent of people that understand this information profoundly, and they're using it, they're wielding it like a sword to influence the grown children of the world, to sway, to control their perception, right? This is perception management for behavior control. And this is what we got going on. And we're going to dive into a few topics where this applies very much. Let me put my screen over here. All right. So, Friedrich Nietzsche said, the snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. As well, the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions, they cease to be mind. Powerful quote. If we don't evolve individually, right? The collective is comprised of the individuals. If we are not on the forward progression, the forward path, then we are not evolving, and we cannot shed our skin. We cannot change. Therefore, we're in a realm of stagnation, involution, the force that decays and breaks down in the natural world. So, let's start with some definitions, right? Definition means clarity of meaning. Out of infinite possibility of meaning, we're bringing it down to the finite. We're looking for higher definition. So, what is a rite of passage? A rite of passage is a significant ceremony or event marking a person's transition from one life stage to another, often symbolizing their growth, maturity, or change in status. Cultures around the world and throughout history performed rites of passage with some important common factors. A rite of passage includes a process called initiation. So a rite of passage, right? Passage, you're passing through the corridor of time. A rite is a ritual. A ritual is something you perform, like your daily ritual. What do you do in the morning? It's a habit. It's something that you perform, right? So this is a transformational marker in life. And this presentation is not about reverting to the past, going to the old ways. It's very much about ancient and hidden knowledge that is based in truth, because truth itself is eternal. It always will withstand the test of time. So this is about ancient knowledge and wisdom and applying it today. It has to be applicable in real life, in modern life. So rites of passage, we have many today that people participate in. Hold on one second. Is the music still on? I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know the music was low. All right, hopefully that's better. Thank you for putting that out in the chat. So we have these rites of passage even today. And let's dive into some of these. So, modern rites. Graduation ceremonies, weddings, coming of age parties, driver's license, college, fraternities and sororities, voting participation, religious confirmations, military enlistment, becoming a parent, retirement parties. Now, these are rites of passage in their own way. Even, we can see graduation ceremonies, supposed to be you're graduating from adolescence into adulthood. Weddings, the unification of two people coming together, man and wife. Coming of age parties, the kensietas and the bar mitzvahs, are still active today. Driver's license is obviously a supposed to be a passage of you. Now you can travel with government authority allowing that, right? So all of these have a characteristic of artificial passage is what I'm calling it. Now, even becoming a parent, I'm throwing in there as well. All of these are, because they're missing the core values and principles of what it means to go through a rites of passage and to be initiated. So we're going to define what initiation is here in a minute. But if we look at some of these, military enlistment, the program in the conditioned people, the youth think that enlisting into the military is something virtuous, right? Like it's virtuous to kill innocent people or do the bidding of the ruling class, the master class, right? This is what this is. They think they're going to get discipline and they're going to become a man or a woman, right? And this is artificial. You don't get this here. What you get is programming and conditioning. Same with the schooling system, the indoctrination camps, even weddings, right? You're exchanging vows, and people look at weddings like this is a rite of passage. Like once you have that ceremony, now you can be a husband, now you can be a wife. When that's not the case, right? You're a wife or a husband when you start dating. It's a state of mind. It's value and principles is what it is. So all of these are lacking in very important wisdom, and we're going to dive into that wisdom today. So what is initiation? Initiation, Latin, initium, means a beginning, an entrance, enter upon. Initiation means beginning. Simply put. So initiation is the beginning of a transformational process in an individual. Many cultures had different ceremonies, but the intent and meaning of initiation had common factors with a sole purpose. Initiation is the oldest system of spiritual instruction and was deemed vital, necessary, and an integral process for healthy individual development, which leads to healthy communal survival. Again, individual, then the community. So initiation, we look at any event in our life, whether it's negative or positive. If it's a significant event or time period, it is an invitation of initiation. It means you are beginning something, whether that be a health crisis, getting into a new line of work, having a new purpose, anything like this. It's vital to your life. It's a huge event. And that event is the beginning of a process that people lack knowledge of. All major life events, negative or positive, are invitations of initiation, an opportunity to process an experience, learn a lesson, transmute the knowledge, and transform one's self towards evolutionary consciousness. Initiation, or beginning, is setting foot on the spiritual path, but to walk the distance is a free will choice. Initiation is not optional, nor the consequences. Meaning that we live life. This is what we're here to do. We're here to learn, experience, and grow and evolve in consciousness. There's no way around it. We are going to experience events in our life. We are going to go through things in our life that are going to have a huge impact on us. That is not optional, right? So these events start, they begin. The consequences, whether you choose to participate, there's going to be consequences regardless, whether you participate or you do not participate. So the world is not here to make you happy. It is here to make you conscious. We are here to become aware. to become in this time period, to be aware of ourselves and what is going on in reality. This is vital to have that awareness, especially with all the bullshit going on today. This is why I do this work. I do it, obviously, the work is done on oneself first, but then you need to put it into action to inspire others. So initiation, there's a process that we're going to dive into. And there is a word that is not commonly named, and this is the liminal space. So liminal, it means threshold. That's what it means. Relating to or situated at a sensory threshold, barely perceivable or capable of eliciting a response. It's also the intermediate state of a phase or a condition. It's the in-between phase, the transitional phase. Now, the first definition of a sensory threshold, or barely perceivable, this is because this space is internal. It takes our inner eye. It's not perceived by the five senses, right? So it's barely perceivable. This is internal work. All initiation, the process of initiation, transpires in the liminal space, the in-between. You have two rooms. The hallway in between is the liminal space. It's the transition from walking from one room to another. So when you ignore the invitations of initiation, that unresolved energy from lack of integration anchors below into the shadow of the unconscious. The compounding of unfinished beginnings or initiations will most certainly affect behavior until it has been properly processed. So most of humanity resides in this state, which is one of the main reasons victim mentality and narcissism is so prevalent, and also ignorance as well. So the world is massively uninitiated. The social engineers call them the unbegun. It's a mocking phrase, meaning that everything, all the material, the prima materium is right there in front of them. And they have not done the initiatory process of becoming an awakened human being, an aware human being. So they also call them the walking dead. So this is the unfinished initiation. And this is where the majority of people are in. And I'm going to focus on two categories of people here in a minute. But we need to dissect the initiatory process a little more. So there are three phases of a rites of passage. Number one, separation. Number two, liminal. And number three, integration. Now, I color-coded these as well in correspondence to the trivium process of truth discovery, which is critical thinking. It's also the building blocks of manifesting reality, right? So knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Also, the three aspects of consciousness: thought, emotion, and action. These all coincide with each other. So the first phase of separation or dissolution, right? This is a radical severance of worldview and identity. Those that have began to awaken or are aware of what is going on in the world today in reality have already been through the separation of from when they were asleep, programmed, conditioned. They are not the same person. So this is the disintegration process of how you thought the world was and who you thought you were then. Right? And there's a lot of people that have already been through this process. The next phase, the liminal space, is the transition. It's also understanding. It's also emotion, right? Because it's internal process of doing the emotional work. Just like step one is thought. It always starts from the first law of nature, the first natural law principle of mentalism, your state of mind. This is where the change begins. You recognize there's an issue. In the liminal space, it is emotional, deep work that we are doing. It's the processing phase as well. So this is initiation and transformation occurs in the threshold of liminal space, the in-between self. And phase 3 is integration, which is rebirth. It's also wisdom, action, and output. From the transitional stage, the initiation process, you are now a totally different person with a totally different worldview. You have been reborn, right? You are applying wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge applied. The knowledge, the grammar that you have gained during the separation phase, then you processed it using logic and understanding, and now you have wisdom where you can output your knowledge into behavior and take action and activate. This is where unity consciousness embodies activation, right? Where you're unified thoughts, emotions, and actions. So these are the phases of a rites of passage: separation, liminal, integration, old self, in-between self, and new self. Now, that liminal space right there in the middle, this is where people are lacking. Obviously, there's a lot of people that haven't even been through the dissolution phase. The majority of people are there, but a lot of people have came into the awareness of what's going on from, all the psyops, the pandemic. 9/11 was another one. There's all these dialectics and events that are going on that are making people more aware, and they are questioning things. They are setting foot onto the path of the quest, but they go no further. That's it. And they stay stuck in the liminal space. So the two categories that I want to focus on is the coming of age category, where young people are beginning that process, that phase of becoming an adult. This is the first category. So let's lay some groundwork and talk about brain development. So there are 5 major brain surges of neurons during early human development. These stages are crucial opportunities of growth and transformation. We have birth to 1 year old, 3 to 4, 7 to 8, 11 to 12, 15 to 18. Now, these brain surges are parts of the brain that are coming online and they are activating, right? Obviously, from birth to 7 to 8 years old, this is the formative years, the formatting years, which is vital. One of the most crucial and important stages of a young being's life, because this is laying down the operating systems, the principles by which the being, as the being grows up and gets into adolescence and adulthood, is going to filter all this information through their formative years. It has a huge impact on who they are going to become, and that's a vital stage. Now, 11 to 12, 15 to 18. Obviously, 11 to 12, the process of adolescence has begun. Puberty is starting to take into effect. And then we have, by 15, full-blown puberty. And it can be as late as late of 18 as well. But mainly around 12 to 15 is this time phrase where the biggest brain surge occurs, where the sensory pathways, both hemispheres of the brain, the left and right, the higher cognitive functions are coming online. It's also connecting the heart space, which is also known as the heart brain, and the guts. right? Which is the gut brain as well. So the three brains. So the whole being is coming online. Now, this surge of neurons, it's no coincidence, right? That nature and this how we operate. Now, especially for young men, for boys, there's the feeling of it's the spark of purpose. For boys, testosterone is developing, which is fire, and they really are seeking purpose. Same with women as well, young girls, right? They're seeking more of meaning as well. Meaning is a feminine aspect. Purpose is an action. It's an active principle, more a masculine. Now, the problem is that if correct application, i.e., rites of passage, integration, transformation, does not occur during this time period of the coming of age, then the child seeks it elsewhere. And most of the time, it's with groupthink, right? With boys, they need that purpose. They want to do something adventurous. They want to come into their own. And if they don't get that purpose, then they will align with group mentality. So this is important to know because we're going to get into bridging the threshold. So in the tapestry of human existence, there are moments that define who we are. They are the threads that weave the fabric of our identity, connecting our past to our present and guiding us into the future. One such pivotal moment is the coming of age rite of passage, a timeless tradition celebrated across cultures and continents. It is a transformative journey, a bridge from innocence to responsibility, and a testament to the power of community and tradition, or lack thereof. Every ancient culture in the world deemed the initiation of adolescence into adulthood as the most important rite of passage. This time period, the coming of age. Now think about what I stated with the problem. The problem I'm stating in this presentation is that the majority of human beings on this planet currently are children. They're spiritual children because of their lack of natural law, natural principles, the truth. And during this time period, this is vital to discover purpose, meaning, natural law, and moral principles. So because we have that lack, right, those that are aware can see the issues. We can observe the problems in society. And we have a crisis. So that crisis is suicide amongst teenagers is at an all-time high. Why? So the infatuation and urge for death in teenagers is completely natural because teenagers are supposed to die. But this death is not literal. It is spiritual and metaphorical. Your childhood must die so you can become an adult. Unfortunately, the psychological and spiritual framework for this transformation and transition is disconnected from modern culture. The death urge is then actualized in the physical world as opposed through ritual and initiation into maturity. Teenagers are stuck in liminal space, the in-between, due to their own ignorance and parental ignorance of this natural process. So when the pain becomes suffering, they seek physical death. This unfinished initiation can generate into depression, anxiety, identity crisis, groupthink, bodily dysmorphia, bodily mutilation, or other diseases. The truth that when we look at the teenage years, the adolescents and these young adults, They are completely off the beaten path. They are disconnected from nature and truth. Now, if you're in this age group, right, then hear me out. There could be some offense taken on, but you need hear this information and process it. So this is a huge, huge problem. Of course, the issue always lies with the parental capacity, because the parents are there to educate their youth. But during the coming of age, what happens? As age and the capacity for logic, reason, and holistic thinking, right? Intelligence, a young person is coming into their sovereignty, their autonomy, their responsibility. So from there, they take on a lot of damage that builds a lot of shadow characteristics, and that is outputted into negative, harmful, and destructive behavior. So let's look at men and women, boys and girls, girls to women, right? Becoming a woman, a rite of passage from girlhood to womanhood, is biologically initiated with first menstruation. Rituals would incorporate the whole community in a supportive ceremony, mothers and grandmothers expressing veneration for the feminine essence of being. Like I said, its meaning, the meaning of life, is a feminine principle. And we're going to dive into the meaning of life and life's purpose. But young girls, they have this innate response, this natural, automatic response of first menstruation. It is obvious that they are going through this process. Now, there's the lack of knowledge and wisdom that is there for young girls to understand what it means to be a woman, to embody their feminine essence of being, emotion. And this is lacking. So there was always a heavy emphasis in past cultures from boys to men. And there's a reason for that. A rite of passage from boyhood into manhood is very much a physical and psychological ritual. This symbolic spiritual death of childhood from boys is the metaphysical separation from mother and the womb. The biological initiation for boys is the increased production of testosterone, which is a fire element, which is an extremely active element. Therefore, rituals were led by men to show the boy how to harness their spirit of doingness, action. This is a masculine principle. It's active. Now, why the emphasis on boys to men? Because, unlike women, boys do not have an obvious initiation of the coming of age. They can feel it inside of them with the energy and the spirit and, of testosterone, that fire building into them, right? But fire can be extremely erratic, right? This is why men would take the boys into nature, and it would be a very physical, excruciating ritual, right? It would break them down psychologically and physically to show them a couple things. One, to harness their power, to harness their fire. But also, as young boys tend to believe, they become ego dominant, where they're very self-centered, right? That this is a quality that young boys get. So the ritual was there to break them down in nature, to show them that there is a supreme authority, and that is nature. It must be obeyed and respected and harmonized with. Now, how does this apply to today? The social engineers understand this natural process. This is why they're attacking the masculine. If you can neuter and declaw men, you will have a society that will not fight back, that will not activate the sacred masculine principle of self-defense. Of course, the attack on women as well. It's twofold. Women have that influence over men. This is what the man is. The man is devoted to the feminine essence. Now, so that's crucial to understand that there is this war going on many fronts. So we also have so that was the first category, the coming of age, adolescence into adulthood. The second category, with the lack of initiation and stuck in the liminal space, is the freedom movement. Unfortunately, the so-called freedom movement is not evolving towards holistic consciousness and true freedom due to their ignorance of natural law and objective morality. They are internally stagnant within the liminal space due to incorrect knowledge and lack of processing of the transitional phase. In short, ignorance of true spirituality will thwart the forward progress of evolution in nature. Now, obviously, it's not freedom movement, right? You have movement in mind, but what direction is it going? Is it evolving or is it devolving? We see, I've said many times, there is not a great awakening. There is a great awareness. Now, this is opportunity. There's a lot of people that are aware that shit is fucked up in society, right? But they cling on to puddles of awareness. They get stuck in cul-de-sacs of information. They are not doing the internal work to get down to the causal factors that are embedded in mind and educating themselves, applying it to themselves, going through that initiatory process, and then taking action from there. So the goal is to become a spiritual adult. This is what this presentation is about. So let's talk about what authenticity is. What does it mean to be an authentic adult, an authentic human being based in truth and moral principles, right? Aligning with nature, the way things are. So we have the true self versus the false self. This is the true self. One understands and respects the self-ownership and sovereignty of all beings, which is objective morality. Understands natural law and strives to live in harmony with it at all times through our actions. Understands true non-dualism and strives to live in non-contradiction in thought, emotion, and action. So what do I mean by non-dualism? Now, we live in a perceived duality, right? Day, night, awake, sleep, left, right, hot, cold. This is all perceived duality. Non-dualism is getting down to the essence, to the principle of what something is. So we are all one human family. We are all one in the macrocosm. Anima mundi means soul of the world, meaning we are all one organism living together. So yes, what we do here individually matters and affects the environment and affects the whole. So also the true self understands and espouses and works towards true freedom. The true self recognizes the inherent evil in reality and will not tolerate it and will take action against it. Right? Evil, not in the Christianity sense, the biblical sense. Evil as in to live backwards, to live in opposition to nature and natural law. So the true self worldview reflects the understanding that there is no real separation between self and others. Does not exist an ego identification or internal contradiction. Ego identification is that you identify with your persona. A person. This is what a person is. It's a persona. I am a construction worker. I am a teacher. I am a banker. I am a doctor, etc., etc. No, you are infinite consciousness having an experience to learn and grow and evolve your soul to become a moral being. That's what you are, right? So we need to understand these masks and these hats that, a lot of people are wearing and not identify with them. Internal contradiction means that as you think, so you feel, and so you act. The true self seeks to break down institutionalized belief systems that hold back the progress of consciousness. This is what religion is. Religion, relegare in Latin, to bind or to thwart from forward progress. So the belief in human authority, the belief in religion, cultural religions, that there needs to be a middleman between you and spirituality and creation and nature. The true self is concerned with the alleviation of suffering for all beings. Now let's look on the opposite spectrum of the false self. The false self obviously does not understand or respect self-ownership and sovereignty of all beings, does not understand natural law and lives in opposition with it due to its ignorance, lives in dualism, Republican, Democrat. I have to choose one. That's someone that's programmed, conditioned, living in dualism, right? And the false self cannot envision true freedom, seeks only to control. One that seeks control does not have control of themselves. This is why they seek external control. So the majority of people, obviously, their imagination is faint. They cannot, even people in the freedom movement, when you talk about true freedom and anarchy, no masters, no slaves. A lot of them don't have that imagination that human beings cannot create, organize, and create a moral, functional, healthy society or community. So this is the inauthentic. More aspects completely attached to a false separation worldview. This is where the atheists come into play and the materialists. Everything is matter. There is no creation or intelligence in nature. Exists in deep ego identification. Accepts and reinforces institutionalized belief systems that hold back the progress of consciousness. And completely unconcerned with the suffering of others, thinks only about the self, which is solipsism, me, dog eat dog, moral relativism. So, we definitely need a call to action. I wanted to throw this in here. This is a lot of presenters at the Seed 5 conference touched on the hero's journey. And this is important to know because this is a rites of passage. So the hero's journey is ancient. Ancient. This is embedded in all the mythos and the mythology, right? That there is this cycle of separation, liminal, transitional, and rebirth. Right? This is what the hero's journey is. So I'll quickly go through, right? We have the call to adventure. Then you have your trials. And then you can see that on, this is the left image, right? We have departure, which is the separation. And then we have going into the unknown, the internal realm. of initiation, and then the return, which is wisdom, being reborn as a new person that is activated and applying action. So it's interesting that, all the movies like The Matrix, V for Vendetta, they obviously this is a huge aspect that directors use in these movies, because why do people cheer for the hero in movies like The Matrix, and they cannot apply it to the world and see that this allegorical movie story is exactly what's going on today, right? People can feel the hero's journey in allegories, in movies, in stories. They can feel it because it resonates in truth. And it's eternal. It speaks to them. It speaks to their soul and to their very being, the essence of their spirit. But yet they are completely unconscious to actually applying it to themselves and applying it to the world. So, let's get into the solution. The soul you shun. The hidden passage. The knowledge of natural law has been occulted or hidden for millennia from public awareness, because when humanity activates this universal wisdom, the parasitical ruling class loses their grip loses their grip of influence and control. The most important rite of passage is through the archway of knowledge to natural law and objective morality. Here, the initiate can attain higher consciousness of how reality operates, the laws of nature, sovereignty, natural rights, and connection to the divine, which is soul purpose, interconnectedness. This is the rite of rites, the hidden archway, with the discovering and applying the knowledge of natural law. Now, this isn't like a one-stop shop ordeal where you, okay, I know what natural law is, that's it. Understanding the laws of nature is a lifelong process and beyond. So this is the hidden passage. This is what the social engineers do not want individuals to understand and apply to themselves. This is what they don't want parents to teach to their children and to facilitate to the young growing adults. So natural law is the governing dynamics of creation, which delivers the consequences of humanity's collective behavior. Natural law is the fundamental substrate of all phenomena. It's real natural order and the objective, absolute truth. It's the bullseye by which a spiritual, mature human strives for harmony and alignment towards evolution. The knowledge of natural law is bridging the threshold from immaturity to spiritual adulthood, whereby a human being has conscious, which is knowledge, and then willfully exercises conscience by moral right action. Natural law is the cosmic causality. This is the metaphysical realm. Metaphysical and physical, they are not separate. The physical is the manifested realm, the body of the spirit, of the mental realm. So understanding the natural law principles and applying that to yourself. Once you understand at a certain level where you can, your perception, the information, what is going on in reality is being filtered through the knowledge of natural law, you will have a vast and profound understanding of the causal factors of what's going on within yourself and within reality. So the divine connection, becoming a holistic spiritual adult, recognizes the laws of nature as the only true law in reality. Natural law is the supreme authority, which is immutable, non-man-made, universal, and binding to all human beings. Human beings are not separate from nature. Instead, a part of the divine connection with the cosmic will for evolution, the universal intention. The meaning of life is freedom, and the purpose of life is evolution into higher consciousness of unique complexity and expansive beauty. This is what the cosmic will, the divine intention, this is what consciousness wants to do. It wants to evolve. It wants to expand and grow. This is what purpose is. Now, this is on the macro, right? The meaning of life is freedom and purpose of life is evolution. It's also in the individual. The meaning of a human's life is freedom, because freedom is infinite possibility. This is the state that we are trying to accomplish. We are trying to end slavery, which is the state of control and duress, constriction. We are trying to live in a state of freedom, which true freedom is infinite possibilities. Of course, that does not mean irresponsibility can be taking place, right? This is up to us, because we are having this experience. It is our ability to respond to nature, to reality, to ourselves, to respond correctly and morally. Our individual purpose of life. I'm here to influence and inspire others to look within themselves. That's my life purpose. Everyone else has their own dharma, their individual lessons that they want to learn in this lifetime. But regardless, it's towards evolution. It needs to be towards evolution in higher consciousness. Now, we're in a state of slavery. This changes the whole dynamic, because we do have the majority of people that are unconscious, and unfortunately, by them being unconscious and ignorant to moral principles and natural law, they affect the whole, and they are devolving humanity as a species. This is why more people need to go public, understand this information, and inspire others to wake the fuck up, right? So we can achieve this state of infinite possibility, of true freedom under natural law. And we also can pursue the deeper purpose of individuality. So the wise advisor. Nature is the mentor. So a mentor in Sanskrit is mantar, one who thinks. It also means to think. It's also an agent noun of mentos, which is intent, purpose, spirit, passion. So a mentor is a guide or a wise advisor, a stepping stone to elevate higher awareness or help progress the human vessel, a ship, forward into the journey of life. Mentorship is important for humans throughout life, but especially during the coming of age stage of adolescence. The ultimate mentor in every category is, of course, nature. The laws of nature are a guiding force towards evolution, and the deeper we understand natural law, the potential to live wiser increases. Nature is the ultimate mentor for humanity to look to learn, and evolve with. right? I mean, we look at the inverse, right? The perversion and the inversion of from the pharmaceutical industry and the inversion of health, right? I mean, pharmaceuticals, these synthetics and all these chemicals derive from nature, meaning the model was from nature and then it was perverted in a synthetic, artificial, man-made way. Every category we can look to nature and strive for evolution. Now, mentorship is important even from the parental aspect, right? We are facilitators of the youth, and especially in the coming of age where that spark is hitting and a young being is detaching from the family dynamic on a physical and metaphysical, energetic, psychological category, right? They are looking to become their own. Mentors are extremely important. Whatever your child wants to do, promote that. Self-directed learning, promote that. Find resources. Discover an apprenticeship or a mentor. Now, it's interesting, I mean, a lot of my homeschool people, unschool people can recognize this, that when your child gets to a certain age in the adolescent stages, sometimes they can be resistant from learning information from you, from their own parents. This is a natural response of, to leave the nest, to break into their own, to become into their autonomy, right? So you might have to facilitate outside external mentors. I have mentors. You should have a mentor. Anyone watching this, a mentor in many aspects of your life. I have a mentor when it comes to gardening. Mark Passio is a philosophical and a technological mentor of mine. I have mentors when it comes to alchemy and spagyrics and tinctures, right? These are stepping stones to help us along our quest. So, when you think about the majority of human beings, right? All the uninitiated masses, when you think about their mentors, especially for teens, celebrities, musicians, unfinished initiates, people that are not moral, that are not activated in wisdom. So, something to consider. So the rites of passage, this whole presentation is about evolving. Evolution is the force that is willing consciousness to move forward and expand into more complex forms. It's not just the biological propagation of genes. It is epigenetics, which means beyond genes. The wisdom of morality and the awareness of natural law. Genes can propagate physically, meaning people can have children and one can still be devolving due to their opposition metaphysically, in mind, to their state of mind. A rite of passage is the transference of universal wisdom from generation to generation as a tradition. We need to stop programming and conditioning our youth that the belief in human authority, that government is the way things are. Even religion, false religion. Rites of passage is about the propagation of universal wisdom, which obviously is based in truth and in nature. It's the knowledge of natural law and natural law principles. Evolution is moving forward. So, what are the steps of initiation? This is where people need to apply introspection on these steps. All the mystery schools talked about the same process. This is simplified. Number 1, stop lying, especially to yourself. Step 2, stop dreaming. which is cognitive dissonance, where you're thinking that reality is a certain way, then it is not. You're dreaming that you are a certain way when you are not. So this is what cognitive dissonance is. Number 3, learn how to think, which is the trivium process. This is the process of critical thinking, activating holistic intelligence, left brain and right brain, grammar, logic, rhetoric, knowledge, understanding, wisdom. Number 4, step 4 is live in the present moment. We need to be grounded within ourselves on who we are and what we are doing within our own lives, but also what is going on in reality. We need to be grounded. There's a lot of information and limiters of consciousness today was a great one. October 4th, right? The whole grid collapsed at whatever time it was. These are just cul-de-sacs for your mind. Where do you put your time and attention to? Very important. We need to be grounded. And step 5 is activate the physical body. The physical body is the receiver of the signal. It is our temple. It is our vehicle. If this breaks down, if we don't take care of it, then absolutely our mind, our cognitive function is going to decrease as well, and vice versa. So these 3 steps. Number 1 is always the hardest step for people. These are the steps that one would do within the liminal space, the transitional phase. These steps right here. So the steps of initiation, it's beginning, the liminal work. Now, we got a few more slides, and then I'll take questions. I appreciate you all for being here. Rites of Passage has a key element. All initiatory events in your life have the foundational element of death. Something must die. An old pattern, habit, identity, perception, and ultimately a state of consciousness, a level of awareness must disintegrate for the reemergence of a new state of consciousness in higher awareness. This is the allegory of the phoenix. Death before dying, right? We need to die onto ourselves by taking that quest of initiation and diving deep into our own psyche and how we think. What makes us tick, our belief systems. Why do we hold these belief systems on a deep, profound level? So something must die. Step 1 is the separation, right? Then the phoenix burns in flames, right? Dies. The liminal space of the actual initiatory process, right? Or here's a good way to look at it, a caterpillar, right? Caterpillar, cocoon. Within that cocoon, that's liminal space. Then rebirth as the butterfly, or rise again as the phoenix from the ashes. This is what we need to do. It's also a good allegory is Odin. I mean, this aspect of death is in many, many mythos. Jesus, Odin. Odin died upon himself, right? For self-knowledge, to learn more about himself and higher awareness and consciousness. So the problem with this slide, and what I'm talking about right now, this scares the shit out of people. The majority of human beings, the unbegun, the uninitiated, are scared. They're terrified of death, which is the primal fear. Now, all fear is based in ignorance, lack of knowledge. Most people think that they're going to die and that's it. It's the end. Or they're so ensconced into materialism, they're not going to be able to take their fancy shit with them. Right? So this scares people. We need to die. Often. Metaphorically. Spiritually. I am not Chill Will. That was my hip-hop name in my music career over 10, 12 years ago. I'm a completely different person. Chill Will is dead. I am Will Keller, where I'm at here and now, activated, doing what I'm here to do. So, initiation is about self-ownership. Discovering your inner authority to own your life, being responsible and accountable for one's own actions, understanding your autonomy and sovereignty under natural law. Initiation is becoming a moral human being. And so to initiate means to ignite, to inflame with the fire of truth and right action. This is what rites of passage, initiation is all about. Spiritual adulthood, understanding objective morality and natural law, self-ownership. Responsibility is our ability to respond and act. Key word. Becoming a mature human being is not just biological, physical development. It is also psychological, emotional, moral, metaphysical, and philosophical, which are all spiritual aspects that comprise a human being who understands the foundational framework of the self, the natural world, and what it means to be a good human being. In modern society, all of these aspects are deflected, ignored, inverted, occulted, and misguided, which can be observed in the aggregate human condition. When you understand the causal factors, then you know definitively, as morality increases, freedom increases. As morality decreases, freedom decreases. And we are ensconced in enslavement. And we will continue down that path of involution. This is what this path is. It's the breaking down and it's decaying, all the way down to our complete destruction, to reset and for nature to reset and give the next ones a chance. The hours may be long and the teacher cruel, but each of us must walk that path, and the only ones ready to go onward are those who have passed through the gateway of experience. Manly P. Hall. Beautiful quote. We need to walk through that gateway, that archway, that passage of initiation to activate and take action in this day and age. So, we need to face ourselves. Modern initiation, one does not need to survive in the jungle and fight a bear or accomplish 20 ayahuasca retreats or be suspended in a dark cave for weeks to become initiated. In fact, the hardest process of facing yourself is to be done in the mirror. By exploring your internal ecology, breaking down false axioms, illuminating the dark alleys of your own psyche, and distilling the soul with pure honesty, courage, and the will for change. That is the great work. The great work is the internal process of facing yourself. Once you do that, then you can do the one great work and take action in the real world. So it's time to grow up, humanity, and relinquish that which binds back our forward progress. It's time to embrace the metamorphosis of real change through initiation, to ignite willpower, exercise conscience, and participate in the one great work of ending human slavery. The responsibility is within your own life to activate true spiritual evolution for truth, love, and freedom. You are a living mystery school. It's time to begin the process of dismantling and distilling the false ideologies that are immoral and in opposition to nature and truth. The first step is being brutally honest with yourself on all levels. This is a stepwise progression of course correction. Just as there are no right angles in nature, there are no sudden cures or fixes in this journey of self-discovery. The spiral ritual is a path of willpower, courage, integrity, care, and justice. And what you do on a day-to-day basis will determine the whole. Embrace psychological death of oneself like the phoenix rising from its ashes. You too must rise from the stagnant beliefs and awaken to your true self. This process is continuous, as change is continual, and the consequences for all choices are inevitable. This is your responsibility. Begin. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my presentation. Again, I'll give a shout out to the Seed Truth Academy that hosted the Seed 5 Metamorphosis Conference. Fantastic event. I highly recommend people go check out all the presentations there. Support Seed Truth Academy. So thank you so much for checking out this extended version of this presentation, and I will take some questions and some feedback. Oh, wow, there's a lot of responses. I love it. If anyone has a question, now would be the time to put it in there. It'll take some time to kind of go through everything. So, all right, good seeing. Hello, Thomas. Good seeing you, my brother. William, Brian, Lisa, Angela. Hex Proof Anarchist, my brother. What's up? Trey's the Lion. Yeah, buddy. Hey, Patty. Great comments. I appreciate all the support. I recognize a lot of the names here. I'm extremely grateful for all the support for all my work. I appreciate it. What's up, John? Great presentation. Began in the late 70s. Actually, excellent. Yeah, no, it's an ongoing process. You know, when we think about, the freedom movement today, the so-called freedom movement, and all these people, I have nothing against current events, but what is the solution, right? So all the people, all the alternative media, they constantly fixate and focus on the current events and all these dialectics, but they do not provide a solution. They don't talk about objective morality and natural law. All right, Angela's got a question. Excellent. Do you think many scholars in the freedom arena find initiation necessary, and why? Great question. I think, a lot of this information that I'm talking about, this is occultism. This is what the realm of occultism is. But when, many people hear like a term like initiation, right? They kind of put it in like the woo-woo category. They don't understand what it actually means. So there's this process of unlearning, deprogramming oneself. I mean, anyone knows me, I'm a word junkie. I love words. I love going to the origin of words. What is the etymology? What's the original vibratory meaning of a word? And just doing that can shatter your worldview. So I think, a lot of scholars think they don't need to go through the initiatory process, but they do. And we know this because we can observe the effects in reality. We can see how many people are still in the quote unquote freedom arena, are still abdicating for government, RFK. They're still abdicating for all these artificial pathways. They are not you can gauge on how aware a society is on how often they talk about objective morality or natural law. Actually, both must be discussed. So I think they, I come from the study of the occult. Now, a lot of that information needs to be decoded. You have to educate yourself on that aspect. Mark Passio, the greatest person that has decoded and synthesized the occult, the knowledge into a digestible and modern condentation so people can understand it. I think that's extremely vital. How can we use occult psychology for good? Teaching morality like the controllers use to manipulate minds. Fantastic question. We do it exactly like how I'm doing it right now. We need to understand the natural law principles, right? Mentalism, correspondence, polarity, vibration, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Each one of these needs to be studied deeply. A lot of people have heard about the Kybalion, but the Kybalion is like the beginning stages of this. We need to go deeper and apply this to ourselves and society. So yeah, the social engineers, they understand how psychology works. They understand that if they can get a whole bunch of parrots, if they can infiltrate the realm of information through repetition and through non-participation of the public, of doing the internal work, they're going to program people. They are going to program people. So we need to use the same tactics. So you're right on, Hexproof. This is what we need to do. We need to become the true media. We need to get as many people out there in the public arena speaking about natural law. So we're using the same tactics. My presentation tomorrow is going to be really good for this, for solutions, right? Let me pull it up. Initiation into the One Great Work. It's going to be very, very solution-based. It's an excellent prequel or sequel to this presentation. I think a lot of people are going to like it. And also, it's an extension of the initiation process that I discussed here today. So there's going to be some valuable stuff in there. What's up, Patrick? Do unto others what would do unto you. Don't do unto... Yep, absolutely. Okay, here's a great question. Hi, Lisa. Are there ways to tell if you're really being honest with yourself? How do you know if you're going too easy on yourself or too hard? Great question. Um, well, you need we need to understand. We need to utilize the aspects of consciousness, your emotion as well. That voice inside you, when you listen to it more and you pay it attention and focus, it will get louder and more predominant. If you think you're going too hard on yourself, you need to look there. By putting focus on your triggers, this is where you're going to get down to the causal issues of your psyche. Observing and paying attention to what pisses you off and what upsets you about yourself and about reality. I don't get offended easily. I do not get offended. I'm very well grounded within my own being. But what does piss me off is slavery, is the current state of the world. That pisses me off. If that makes me upset and I'm taking action towards that, what does that say about my psyche and my character? So we can do the process of reduction within ourselves, and when we're striking the nerve within ourselves, walk that path. So I don't know, hopefully that will answer some of the questions, but observing our triggers, our intuition as well. This is part of intelligence, right? Having the logical and the analytical capacity is one part of the puzzle of our brain, right? We need that creative and intuitive capacity as well. We feel what is wrong. We can feel what is right. We can feel what we're lying to ourselves about. Yeah. Trey says that's mirror work. Mirror work. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Angela's got another question. Many SRA, which is satanic ritual abuse survivors, discuss the initiator ritually being cruel and find using Manly P. Hall as a map to dark occult. How do we bring these extremes together? Find using Manly P. Hall as a map to the dark occult? Is that what the question is? This is what the SRA survivors were discussing, that the initiators were using Manly P. Hall as a map to the dark occult. If Manly P. Hall is one of the greatest minds out there for synthesizing and aggregating the occult. So, I mean, if someone... what is the dark occult? It's the same exact thing as the light occult as far as the body of knowledge. It's understanding the psyche and natural law, but it's what it's using it for is on the opposite spectrum. It's for violence, violations, immorality, right? Occultism is just the study of natural law, that information. Yep, Patrick says living by natural law principles is the solution. Manly P. Hall is some of the greatest works out there. I mean, he dives deep into natural law. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have much comment on, why an initiator would use Manly P. Hall as a map, as a roadmap to the dark occult. That's just someone understanding the occult and then using it for dark dark purposes. There we go. Yep. Yeah, right on, Patrick. In order for occultist knowledge to be used for good in the world, we must overcome the fear of the occult. Absolutely. Yeah, that's another trigger word, right? And going back to triggers, right? When I engage even on a one-on-one, when I used to go out on the street, hold some signs, not protesting, just out there, public education to try to interact with people, I could gauge a person's awareness fairly quickly and accurately just in about a minute or two of conversation, of letting them talk, but asking them certain questions like, what do you know about the occult or occultism? Experiencing their triggers, especially to a word like that. Same thing if we talk about anarchy, how someone responds to that. It says a lot about the level of awareness that they're at. Handler. Patty says the handler was using Manly P. Hall as a roadmap. Yeah. Look into Manly P. Hall's work. He's Manly P. Hall is absolutely a light occultist. He's a de-occultist is what he is. That's what he is. Yeah, he didn't even he's putting out the information of the occult to the public is what he was doing. As far as the roadmap, you can use Carl Jung as a roadmap to mind control, influence people, so. Excellent. So briefly, I'll talk again about tomorrow. Let me get the title card up there. It's going to be the same time. And it's going to be great. I did this presentation to a private group. A lot of the people were in Australia and other parts of the world. Fantastic group of people. But it was a private presentation. I have added to that, and now I'm going to do it for the public. Why is it? Oh, there we go. Initiation into the great work. So I'm excited. Let me see. Yep. All right, my beautiful brothers and sisters. I had a long day, so I'm glad I made it through this presentation. I hope you all enjoyed it. For an extended, how much was it extended? It was extended about 40 minutes. So yeah, great. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you all tomorrow as well. Tomorrow's going to be great. I'm really excited for it. Thank you all for tuning in, checking me out, interacting, dropping comments and questions. I appreciate you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Seek truth and speak truth, y'all.